God is the best of planners, so no matter any time I made a plan in my life, it can kind of go sideways or much different than you think. That's like the primary goal of my coaching and even my dance classes. The dance is to use your body. That's why I changed it to feminine geometry instead of belly dance, because belly dance is implied performative. And many people are not taking these courses to present on a stage, it's for themselves. My biggest takeaway from my tour, like last fall from June to December, I was in 20 cities in 6 countries. So I can say we did like some market research.
Phenomenal, my God.
My market research. I traveled a lot for my work in dance. Like we were talking earlier, when I went to Cairo, the climate as a belly dancer wasn't exactly ideal for how I want to present myself in the world. Recently, in the last year, I've been touring a lot on my master class, which is Whirling Magic. This is known, when people see it, they say, oh, Sufi. It's Sufi whirling because it's the art of transcendental whirling. So yes and no. I do a little bit of education on what is Sufi because people don't seem to know. They just think, oh, Rumi, you know. It still requires a lot of work, but it's like what you said, people need to connect, because if we use our Instagram or TikTok or whatever media, website, whatever, we feel the pressure. Even me, as like, I would like be self-proclaimed a little bit rogue from society, how I do my thing. I had a friend of mine, he's like, you can't have best of both worlds. I was like, actually, Habibi, I can, and there's more than 2. It's not both worlds, it's many worlds, and you can take from all of them, because why not? Lifting each other up. A lot of people go into community or network because they want to get something from it. You know, I'm writing a blog, like I have to just do some editing and add some photos, and it's about networking because I had some meetings in the DIFC. I was in the elevator and I saw some businessmen pitching.
Hi everyone, and I am very excited to have a very special guest, and it was very difficult to get hold of my beautiful friend, an inspiring international woman who has put on many different caps. She's into the yoga practitioner side, she's a holistic, into NLP, and I would like Nawal herself to introduce and what she's all about, and the beautiful, magnificent journey, being a globetrotter, being in different parts of the world, and her journey is so exciting. It actually makes me so inspired by just sitting here. So hello Nawal, welcome to the show.
Hi Samira, thank you. Hey everyone. So I'm Nawal El Tememi. Have a very robust portfolio in the arts and in humanities, working with people. I'm in Dubai just doing some different events and networking with some beautiful women, is why I was here this week. And I live in Cairo. I'm based in Cairo, Egypt right now, but before that I was a yoga and belly dance studio owner and teacher in Atlantic, Canada. I traveled a lot for my work in dance. Like we were talking earlier, when I went to Cairo, the climate as a belly dancer wasn't exactly ideal for how I want to present myself in the world. So I did a little bit of self-transformation, self-inventing. Even my move to Egypt wasn't really planned. And all I can say is the spirit of Egypt, she really welcomed me and opened up some different dimensions in my life. So I primarily work with women, and that's like the container that I hold usually, is working with women. I don't call it belly dance anymore. I refer to it more as a feminine geometry.
Right.
So a lot of times, especially in the Middle East, belly dance, even in the West, this word, even within the dance community, is not the best word to do something serious. So I figured if you have a body, you don't have to be a dancer identifying. You can enjoy this geometry, and it's these soft shapes in this hyper-masculine world that we have that is so linear, and everything is very linear. So I try to embrace softness, circularity, organic patterns. Recently, in the last year, I've been touring a lot on my master class, which is Whirling Magic. This is known, when people see it, they say, oh, Sufi. It's Sufi whirling because it's the art of transcendental whirling. So yes and no. I do a little bit of education on what is Sufi because people don't seem to know. They just think, oh, Rumi, you know. And but
exactly, that's what comes to my mind.
Exactly,
Yeah.
It's not wrong. It's also not wrong, but it's just a bit deeper than that. So a lot of my clientele or my demographic is dancers, and they're going to be putting this on the stage. So for me as an educator, it's important that what I transmit is very clear and factual. So I pay a lot of attention to this. This workshop is very suitable for anyone interested in the body or transcendental. I really work a lot with psychedelic communities or transcendental communities because you don't need to be Sufi, which is technically mystic Islam. So you don't need to be Sufi to enjoy this. Again, if you have a body that's capable of verticality, this is something you can enjoy. So I toured this workshop last year. I've been teaching this workshop since 2016. Throughout the West, and then last year I did kind of like a big global tour. I was in Italy, Stockholm, Cairo, of course, Santa Cruz, California,
Wow.
Canada, Vancouver, Montreal, Toronto, you know, so I was everywhere with it. And these were all from my network over the years. As I mentioned earlier, my network is not just dancers. I've toured also with a metal band. I'm in the yoga community.
Phenomenal.
I'm in the psychedelic community. I'm in the transcendental communities because we're all very multifaceted beings. So I just happen to be one that I like acted out a little more than others. And from the grace and the love and the connection of my communities worldwide is how I made this tour. I hadn't toured like that since before Corona. Like 2019 had been, and then I had divorce, like a lot of people did over Corona, and then I was like grounding myself in Egypt, which they say Egypt is not for beginners. It's true, so I took a couple of years to like learn this, and then I was like, I really miss my communities, and not just my communities, but I really missed connecting with my sisterhoods. So as a yoga and a dance teacher for so long, I had a very close long-term group of women that I work with, and then I just kind of vanished into the sands of Egypt, and I was having a blast. Of course, Egypt is amazing, but there was something inside of me that was sad that I had to sit with my energy and just like reflect what is missing, and I was like, oh, it's my sisters. So that is also a large component of why I'm here in Dubai. Also, I was connecting with some beautiful women under this planetary alignment that we're under right now, a very loaded day. Also has a significant day in Islam. Also, it was the day when our Prophet, peace be upon him, did his journey on the Barak.
Miraj,
yes. So it was
the Prophet's ascension.
Yes, exactly. So we had this ceremony of women just to like feel the energy that is coming this way and try to channel it through ourselves, because we all work with women and we all work with many people, and just trying to bring more love and compassion into the world. Because as we can see, we're in an awful mess globally.
Oh, of course.
We're in an awful mess. So, we met, our intention was, there's a lot of people in the healing sphere that potentially abuse their power, or they want to make themselves like a guru of some type, and this is not the way to compassion and love. It's encouraging people to look within themselves, and that was our intention for the circle. So that's why I'm here. And then it was really great like to connect with you. So again, I just feel like if you're putting that love out there, like you'll get love back, you'll connect with the people you find.
And there's so many beautiful things that you mentioned just now, is that sisterhood. Do you know why I started this podcast? It was obviously for the similar reason, where I just felt like, because I was so connected and I knew everyone, but I didn't know how to really have them unified in a holistic way. And this was one of the perfect platforms where I wanted everyone to voice out what they were really doing and how they can benefit, and people can benefit from their work, research, their life experiences, and how you know, the listeners can emotionally connect with you authentically. And the second thing that I love what you said was about so many people are just have this persona of being, which is not true.
It's safe for them. I get it, you know, as a person that I grew up in Eastern Canada. My dad was Egyptian. So even growing up in Canada, people are like, where are you from? Because my look wasn't quite there. And then even since moving to Egypt, they're like, Inti Minin, where are you from? Again, so I was like, I guess I'm not from anywhere.
So you're the Miss.
Don't worry about it. I was like, don't worry where I'm from. It does, you know, it doesn't.
Why does it matter?
Why does it matter? So what I've noticed coming to Dubai, you know, my whole career has taken me around the world, alhamdulillah, and I've met many different subcultures. So I came, and my first trip to Dubai, I came for a Mind Valley event, their first event that they did in 2023. Because the wellness community in Egypt is really booming and going strong, but there's a lot of enthusiasm and not so much experience. Like, I've worked in California since 2011, going for my dance school, working, collaborating. Anything new age has been happening in California for like 80 years.
I love California. I have a sister there.
Oh, where is she?
Los Gatos.
Okay. So NorCal, So I love my California girls.
Oh.
And so anything that's new age or progressive that they think that's happening in the Middle East, it happened there 80 years ago.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
So the whole world is like, pop culture starts there, global pop culture, and it slowly makes its way. You know, I lived in Eastern Canada, so I even was seeing that trend like moving slowly across, and then now it's
transitioning here.
It's come across the Atlantic or Pacific, however you want to look at it, and now it's like spreading its roots here. And it still requires a lot of work, but it's like what you said, people need to connect, because if we use our Instagram or TikTok or whatever media, website, whatever, we feel the pressure. Even me, as like, I would like be self-proclaimed a little bit rogue from society, how I do my things. We still have a certain way we want to be presented, or what we feel is palatable for others. You know, I think we're getting to a time where people are feeling like, khalas, I don't want to deal with these masks. I'm so tired. I'm so tired from that. And like, I talk always to a lot of my girlfriends, like, I recently turned 40, and I'm not like hating on any procedures, like, do you if you want. But I know a lot of people that like, they're getting so much procedures and on their external self, or they're spending on their external self, which is so important, by the way, self-care. It's like my whole career is around that. But if they felt more integrated with all of their personalities, you know, because we all have many, we're multifaceted.
Yes.
You know, so people just don't, what I'm seeing is they don't know how to integrate themselves. My biggest takeaway from my tour, like last fall from June to December, I was in 20 cities in 6 countries. So I can say we did like some market research.
Phenomenal. My God.
My market research, I'm so tired.
Like, how does that even go?
I don't,
I mean, for many it's just like 20 in their whole lifetime, and you were able to encapsulate it in 6 months?
Yeah, no, it was a little insane.
It is aggressive, and it's fantastic.
It was a little insane.
I'm just getting high off this.
Yeah, it was a little insane. People are like, what are you doing? But my biggest takeaway, because I'm like a very energetic individual, we can say, you know, I have a lot of energy and people feel that. I realized, and I talk strong, I talk direct. I realized I need to actually talk a little nicer to people. I realized how after Corona, people are very fragile and very fractured and unsure.
Oversensitive.
Especially in the West, you know, guys, we talked about this, especially in the West, because there's just, you know, I won't go into politics.
There's so many wounds that they haven't healed with, and it just triggers.
They did a psychological warfare during this time, is what I'll say about that. And as we know, like, the global scene is very volatile. So people are feeling unsafe. People are not sure. They don't want to offend I mean, I always tell my friends, because they're like, what do you think of this issue? I said, I think you're being too considerate. Like, be very considerate of others, but like if you're being so considerate that it's like fracturing your psyche, it's like you need to make a balance. You know, I'm a Libra, so it's all about trying
balance,
to
justice.
It's trying to find that. So I realized my big takeaway or my big market research was that, yeah, people really need to be held and to know that they can have their own back. That's what I was noticing,
wow.
is people don't like trust their own self because they're worried it's going to step on someone else. And if you are just like a decent person, you know, as we say in Masr, if you have al-abiyad, your white heart, if someone wants to get offended, that's on them. They have to process it. You know, I'm not saying walk around offend people, of course not. But also, like, if it's your truth, then it's okay. And it's your intention. And God knows our intentions, so that's what matters. So we have to, like, it's very different because living in Egypt, it's made me more, how to say, it's made my heart open and compassion because of the massive gaps in poverty. Like we could be, you could see a man on a donkey cart in his high copy Gucci tracksuit, and then you see a man in an Audi in his Dior. So it's these like bipolar dualities happening at the same time. So Egypt has locations, Dubai, like same as Dubai, but then we also have people like living just like farmers their whole life.
The economy of Egypt is growing massively.
God, yes and no. I mean, we had a financial crash. It was like, it's still happening right now. We lost 70% of the value of the currency. But in other ways, in the A-class populations, as they refer to it there, they don't hide what's really going on. It's growing fast. Like I live in the New Cairo area, so that's kind of like more similar to Dubai, the financial district. And that's, they put up malls, they have new compounds, and they're filled with people. Real estate is selling, they have development in the North Coast. So for that, it's really, really growing. However, like most places in the world, if there's a middle class, it's being squeezed right now, so bad.
Which is crucial and tragic, you know?
Well, it's just how do people live? Like even when I went to the West, I hadn't been back in 2 years actually, since my last visit to Canada, and I was shocked. I was like, guys, what happened? They're like, oh, the inflation. I was like, how are you living, you know? It's, and there's no service, there's no amenities, the weather, you know? So globally, like I said, we're in a mess. Like my reality is I'm never just thinking of one place. Like I'm very connected. I'm from a big family. I'm the oldest of 7. So I have to go check on my siblings everywhere,
oh, beautiful.
You know? And it's like, so I'm very much a global
now
citizen.
I can sense the compassion that is coming from Enrooted. Also, I wanna just stop and just go back where you said that you have to become a bit softer. I think, I don't agree. I think that you should always connect and be with your authentic self.
What I mean by that is I had never seen these levels of poverty. And believe me, I'm from poor Canada. So Egyptians, the biggest question that I get, why would a Canadian come to Egypt? Because everyone, that is their dream, is to go there, you know? Why would you come from the first world into the third world? And I'm like, you guys don't understand. If I ask someone on the street, a beggar, masalan, how are you today? He'll say, Alhamdulillah, thank God, I'm here. If I ask someone who has like an okay life, a flat, groceries, whatever, education, how are you? They're like, F my life, you know? So it's like, that is something intangible. It's hard to describe. For me, there's different costs to everywhere we live. And yes, Cairo is pure chaos, but it's very human. And that's what I feel like we've moved away from.
Beautiful.
Is the humanity, is just being okay with being human. We're not mannequins, you know? Like, sure, we can dress up nice. Like, I'll tell you.
Well, you look like a beautiful mannequin.
I'm just gonna get to that because, like, okay, it's a costume. It's a costume. Before I came to Dubai, so I live, like I said, in like the financial district in Cairo. My parents have a place in the village. Like my dad is an old school Egyptian. So like old school Egyptian man, very Egyptian man. So before I come to Dubai or other big cities, or when I come back, I go straight to the village. So I'm wearing abaya, I'm dressed village style, we have cows, I'm feeding the cows. So I have this very like duality. It's not common, you know, and I'm so grateful for my experiences.
And loving both sides.
It's part of us. And the more when I, you know, go break my nail working, planting a mango tree, I feel like this work, like God is smiling on me. And I'm like, I'm so tired, I can't, you know. But then I'm here going to parties, going to events, schmoozing. I'm so tired also. So what do I want to be tired from? Something that is like feeding back into the future of the earth, or to feed into like a self-image.
Yes.
So I'm very aware, as they say in hip hop, don't hate the player, hate the game.
Yes.
But play the game and know what's up with the game.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Nawal, tell me, like, what is it that, you know, how is it that you're facilitating people? Are you giving, are you coming up with something amazing? Because I know you're here for another reason, you're collaborating. And what if people want to learn and understand more about, you know, the novelty that you have and that you would like to share? And are there any one-on-one coaching lessons? Like
yeah, big time.
Yes.
Yeah, big time. And it's funny because people are like, so what do you do? I'm like, what do you need?
What was the first word that we said? The universe of mystery?
International woman of mystery. It's kind
there
of
you
like,
have it, world.
Yeah, it's kind of a joke. But so for me, when I list what I do, it sounds like a list, but the way I see it, it's one thing. It's all holistic, like I said, about this being multifaceted. So I do coaching for women. I did the Mind Valley Life Coach certification. I've been like a career yoga teacher. I recently started doing a yoga teacher training program, 200 hours, registered with Yoga Alliance. If you want to become a registered yoga teacher and make that a side hustle or a full-time hustle, you can do that. That's a 200-hour program. I do a glamour alchemy coaching, which is how to integrate your inner with what you're putting outer. Like I said about the costume, how to do that and how to make it more unique. Like I'm seeing copy paste. I'm seeing many gorgeous, beautiful people everywhere in Dubai, but they all look the same. I'm like, I don't want to go talk to anyone. Like, doesn't look interesting to me. You know, there's very few. I'm like, hey, what's up with you? Like someone who is okay just how they are. Yeah, like someone who is fine just how they are. And it's like I didn't need to have Dior, I didn't need to have whatever, you know, you like what you like, it's cool. But my coaching programs with women is to focus on your confidence, your charisma, your personal brand, because that's important. If you're on video, if you're in the public eye, you're working with people, you need to be identified as
Yes.
what you are. So, and I also do some public speaking things too. So what else? Dance, the feminine geometry, those all go together. For me to feel like before I came today, you know, like I said, I'm super tired. I've been here like just under a week. I've had an amazing time, but my body needs to rest and my mind needs to rest. So I need to wake up. I need to do some breathing. I need to ground myself. I roll like with a little ball, roll my meridians and my fascial lines. And I try to open up my body before I go do that. Like that's not negotiable for me. Sometimes I need to do the whirling. That's kind of like a movement meditation for me. And I developed that over many years, you know. They all go together. And then how I'm gonna plan, what's the dress code? How can I get the dress code to fit within like what is my style? You know, everyone, like I have a strong personal brand, I guess. I always joke and say maybe it's like bourgeoisie Bedouin, you know, Bedouin bourgeoisie or Beledi chic. So Beledi is like my country, like, but they'll say it's like countryside style, Beledi chic, you know. So I always like to riff and bring from the old world and embrace the new world. Like Dubai is very much the epitome of the new world. Information, technology, ideas, investments, moving fast, people are coming here. But what about the old world? Because that's how we became here.
Beautiful.
And if we lose electricity or internet, what is everyone going to do? So I think it's super important to stay connected to our roots, stay connected to like your wisdom of your grandmother, you know, the wisdom of the people.
Oh yes, not leaving sight of your roots.
the roots. And we all have forgotten, like many people who live in cities, they don't know where their food comes from. They don't know how to make a fire outside.
Yeah, they're completely oblivious to these basic, technicalities.
And
They're not bothered.
This is so important to me. So this is kind of like taking this wisdom of the old world and weaving it into the new world, because we can indeed have both. I had a friend of mine, he's like, you can't have best of both worlds. I was like, actually, Habibi, I can. And there's more than two. It's not both worlds, it's many worlds, and you can take from all of them, because why not? Why not, you know? And so for me, my manifesto is be a real human. Like, and part of being a human is not always glamorous. It can be actually being in a body. It can be a little bit of a disgusting experience sometimes, you know, when it's not going perfect. And we just have like natural processes we have to deal with. It's very inconvenient, we could say, you know? So how do we integrate that? Have no shame around our bodily functions and how we have thoughts, maybe, oh, I felt jealous of this person, or I felt insecure. It's okay. It makes you human. So my main message is just be okay with your humanness. We all are going through it.
Yes.
We're all going through it big time, you know? So how do we just become okay?
Yeah.
And we can just like hang.
Like embracing. I think what you have said can also be like justified as be okay with both, having the yin and the yang, embracing. You cannot just have the positive only. You have to embrace the other side.
It's there.
And you can't just say, oh, shut it, or it's like, I can't just, filter this. Yes, it's totally normal.
It's super normal. That's it. That's like when people talk to me in my coaching, like, oh, I feel this. I'm like, yeah, considering your circumstance, feeling that way is normal. You know, considering the circumstance that we live in, like especially when I work with people in Cairo, I'm like, okay, you're living in Cairo. You have a baseline of stress. There's a baseline of stress. Like, so if you acknowledge that and move from there, okay, I have this baseline of stress. Now what? Not just be like, I'm stressed. Like, yeah, okay, it's normal. We're stressed, you know? So for people to understand that their human experience is normal is really, you know, I know my experience doesn't sound normal, but it's not all like networking and parties. And there's times when I don't, like I was saying, when I notice something is off in myself, I have to like seclude myself. I have to concentrate my energy and be like, okay, Nawal, like what is wrong? Like I have to go inside my body. So my approach is really body first, because if I want to transcend, or whatever the spiritual communities say, where do I transcend from? I'm inside of this. This is the only place that I live, you know?
Yes.
So it doesn't matter if I'm in Dubai or Cairo or Vancouver or California, like this is my home. And if I don't feel at home, if I'm looking for some external place, what about the people in Gaza? They're home, you know, like they're home and they have their faith, yani they have their faith, they're home, they don't, and they're fiercely protective of their place, but I think the world can all take a very good lesson from these people. It's not your external factors that will shape your personality or your faith. So many people are like, once I get this, or when I make so much money, or when I buy the new outfit or shoes, whatever.
Car and
yeah, it's like, okay, what about like, who are you? Who are you before that, you know? So that's like the primary goal of my coaching and even my dance classes. The dance is to use your body. That's why I changed it to feminine geometry instead of belly dance, because belly dance is implied performative, and many people are not taking these courses to present on a stage. It's for themselves. But the world is a stage, so you're also presenting at all times. So I was like, how can I reach a broader audience of not necessarily performers?
And discovering the secret, because I think with everything is from the stomach. Like the energy, the security, and the movement, and there's so much science to even the body movements, and embracing your body, and discovering the secrets, how you can heal yourself from Yeah, so much.
The body, the human body is the most amazing technology that exists on this planet. Like we're seeing like what the Tesla truck, we're seeing like 5G, we're seeing all kinds of developments in technology, ChatGPT, you know, so many things like this. We're like, wow, technology. We are a technology also. And we're not given a user's manual when we have a body. We're given a user manual for the espresso machine, but not this complicated thing that we have.
Absolutely. And if we cannot even understand this in what we're breathing, what are we then?
What to do, you know? So we have a lot of confusion just by like living in this area instead of like the full integration. And it's not always a comfortable experience. I always say, like, if you think of like a blade of grass growing, he gets stepped on, someone's walking, but he still will like reach back towards the sun, you know? So it's like very important that even if we're having bad day, week, month, year, to know that we can still like reach up towards the sun and, you know, keep growing.
Amazing. So how can they reach the listeners? I mean, I think that you have such a beautiful manual to like people can facilitate from, and I don't think so many like yourself. You're so unique, and you have.
Thank you.
And after traveling so much, and you know, your mind opens, and then
Big time.
interacting with different cultures and identities, and like how do they enroll with you if they want to like get sessions?
You can get a hold of me through Instagram. It's really easy. I also have a website. Like my overarching company is called The Nine Lions because I have 7 siblings, but 2 half-siblings, so it's 9 of us. So we're the 9 Lions. And I have that. I mean, I'm trying to encourage, like I'm popping all over the world, as I told you, but I'm trying to encourage people more to come to me in Egypt since I've been there. I've facilitated some Egyptian immersion tours. So we go and we see a lot of different, like the must-see sites, pyramids, Luxor, all those things.
Absolutely.
But I bring in the culture twist. So we'll go spend time with authentic families. We'll bring like live musicians, acoustic musicians from the desert, you know.
I need to sign up for this.
You gotta come. You gotta come. Ahlan. So we have last tour I did, I had a really cool group of people from San Diego. One of them being my designer Melodia. Like she makes like this is part of my personal brand. This pattern, the Asyuti. It's based on a Egyptian artisanal handicraft. So she does this line, and she came to Egypt for her first time with
Beautiful.
me. We did a tour called Karnak Sunrise Tour. So we ended the tour at Karnak Temple in Luxor. That's like Upper Egypt, like the most famous site,
Yes.
Valley of the Kings, King Tut, all of that is Luxor. So we ended on December 21st of the solstice. There is like this celestial alignment and the sun goes like in the square, but you have to go early. So that was like the culmination of the tour.
Beautiful.
So I have that happening again for 2025 and then some other tours. And then my goal, inshallah, is to like combine the tourism with the yoga training that way, because I feel like traveling and experience, especially Egypt, is the same as going through coaching, you know, because it just opens your mind and opens your...
To a different world.
Yeah.
And yeah.
So we have that.
There's so much history.
And then I do one-on-one online. I love in person, to be honest. I love to be in person
Same.
because you osmosis and you vibe on each other. But we're connected online, so I can connect online. You know, we do sessions through Zoom, lessons in anything, or the coaching. I'm opening up a coaching container. I'll start in like late Ramadan for like a group coaching session with women in the Glamour Alchemy. I kind of start there. And then my youngest sister, Fahima, she's based in Vancouver, Canada. She is working through her Master's of Psychology with University of Glasgow. So I kind of bring like the street cred side, and she brings like the psychology academic side, and we've melded it together.
Beautiful, a fusion.
Yeah, well, like I said, we need so many modalities. I've met some really cool ladies here that they're like, oh, you look like you're in healing. Like they just come to me and I was like, yeah, for sure. And I've been with other healing ladies, and I'm like, look at all of us. You can take your pick. I don't recommend just studying with one person. I think like go study with as many people. If someone inspires you today, go work with them, and then you don't need to like give them your soul. You know, you can like work with other people.
With nice mentors, of course. And you always need that learning and opening yourself to something unique, which you are feeling passionate about, and not to confine yourself into something limited. Yeah.
And people don't know where to start sometime. You know, I would have to say my most transformation, besides travel and becoming, like I have a daughter, but besides becoming a parent, was having a very strong mentor. And she wasn't always easy on me, I'll have to say. She was like, I suffered many humiliations, and you know, but that made me grow. And when I was able to look back, I was like, oh, like I didn't get it, but now I get it. But it took me time to like marinate in that, you know.
Right.
So I put myself in the uncomfortable position. I didn't know it would be an uncomfortable position. It was a shock. And that's when I had my most transformative lessons, is when I had accountability to someone. Because we make our lists of things to do, and then time passes and the list doesn't get done. And then we go into self-loathing mode, and we're like, oh, I didn't do that, so I'm late, keza, you need to do these things. So having someone to help keep you accountable, like I still hire coaches, you know, and I need coaches to help me with social media. I need mindset coaches.
Of course, you need the specialists in.
And I have many amazing friends, you know, that we're all kind of like, my circle is all people who are like internationally traveled globe trotters, you know, well-rounded people, and talk strong, you know, but they're compassionate, but they're direct.
That is so important.
There's a difference between being nice and kind. And so I would use an example that, like, being nice, if I saw we're sitting together, you have something in your teeth as an example. Being nice is not saying anything, because I think maybe, oh, she'll be embarrassed. Being kind is being like, hey, by the way, you have something in your teeth, you know? Like, if I sit with someone...
Fixing their crown.
Yeah. If I sit with someone and I go to the washroom and I see I had something in my... I'm like, all of you... you're not kind, you know, like you're not
because
kind.
You love them, you have that pain you can feel, and you want to fix it, you know.
And that's like the most like superficial example I can give. But it's like when you have a good friend, they're like, hey man, like that's not such a good idea what you're doing. Like instead of just being like, whatever, leave them, you know, it's their own thing. Like sure, people are gonna do what they want at the end of the day, but yeah, if you're like caring and kind for someone, you're gonna like step in, intervene, and have an intervention. It doesn't have to be like so heavy, but I think we need that community. We're communal animals. At the end of the day, we're animals, you know, and we need each other. And now the world has made it so we're so secular, and people are just living their whole life online and getting really weird.
It is, it is, and it needs to be breaking free from. Yeah,
and to be okay, and to have communities that are just like, safe community,
trusting,
but also like lifting each other up. A lot of people go into community or network because they want to get something from it. You know, I'm writing a blog, like I have to just do some editing and add some photos, and it's about networking because I had some meetings in the DIFC. I was in the elevator and I saw some businessmen pitching. And I was like, you know, listening what they're doing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm watching this in action. And he's like, oh, we're with this bank, whatever. And the guy's like, no, thank you, we have a bank. And he's like pushing his card on I was like, oh man, it's so bad. It's just
so cheesy.
It's super cheesy, you know, please don't do that. So just not using everyone as a commodity or as a dollar sign, you know, there's more ways to having wealth or richness besides the cash. Of course, we need cash to manage our day-to-day. We need like that financial exchange, but there's other ways of being rich. And that's when you have community, you know how to work with land, you have like good stories from your family, you know, you're good with your family. A lot of people, it's hard.
Yeah.
Families are challenging, and I'll speak from my own experience on that. But there's other ways to richness and wealth that I think that we really have to acknowledge now, because chasing cash and chasing money is
not the way.
It's damaging, you know, it's super damaging. And all of a sudden you're like almost 40. you're just like, I didn't do anything that I wanted to do. I was
Yeah.
just like in the grind.
No one wants to be in that space. Nawal, like, so in the end, like, what is your social link? I mean, so they can take the courses and the sessions and can connect with you, but just can you share with us one more time your Instagram or your website?
Yeah, for sure. So all of my handles on Instagram, I'm not so active on TikTok, Facebook, whatever. Nawal _LEL _Tememi, Nawal El Tememi. I'm on there, and you'll see like a person whirling. That's me. And then my website is the 9 Lions, the THE number 9 Lions.
I love that name.
Yeah, because it's.
Is it 9 lives? Is it
9 lions?
Yeah,
like, no, because we're all lions. Like my family last name Heder, it means lions. So we're very lion energy.
I love it.
So I wanted to include my family, you know.
Wow.
Yeah, I wanted to include, and we all, like all of my siblings, we all work in holistic health. Like my sister's in psychology. 3 of my brothers are, one is a kinesiologist and a corrective exercise specialist. 2 others work in a gym. One's a philosopher, one's a poet. I have another brother, he's like a little more tradesman world. And then I have a sister, she's a chiropractor. So we all work in like healing. And the reason of that is, as I mentioned, our dad is like old school Egyptian guy, which has its own trauma.
It's a perfect fusion. I can't think more than, this blessed family community, and then you deciding to help and, share your beautiful experience and your learning and helping people move and grow towards their true path.
It was something that was just, I observed it happening, and I was like, okay, like how do I lean into this? Because again, like God is the best of planners. So no matter any time I made a plan in my life, it can kind of go sideways or much different than you think. And so now I just like leave it open. I work hard, I haul ass, but then I don't like stay so fixed on what is like how it's going to go. I let like the magic of life kind of come to me, and it always surprises and delights me. Sometimes scares me, but I just kind of let it.
You are so inspiring. So we are going to have you definitely in our next, when you're going to be coming for a trip here. And it has been an amazing episode with you,
thank you so much.
Nawal. I think there are different 9 stories, and
More than 9.
A book has to be compiled, and I think this was one of my most close to heart interviews with Nawal, and I'm so grateful she's here with us. Thank you, everyone, and I can't wait to have Nawal back very soon.
Yeah,
she's here with us. Very important message that is now needed in 2025 for all of us here, and she has a holistic platform where you can reach out to her on her Instagram, and I'll be putting the links. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everyone.